Live from New York, this is the Harvey Hour. My name is Nathan Harvey. Today I'm not joined alongside my dad, Stephen Harvey. He is away for today's episode, but do not fear. The show still goes on. We got a pretty packed show today. A lot of huge topics to come up in this show. A lot of news that may break during the show. Who knows? But let's start with our first topic of today's show. We're talking about Aaron Rodgers. Because Aaron Rodgers is in the darkness. He has entered the darkness, and he should be out eventually, maybe on Monday, hopefully, when we do the Harvey Hour. Me and my dad discuss Aaron Rodgers' potential decision if he does come out, hopefully on that day or the day before, so we can talk about it as soon as it breaks. But former New York Giants running back Tiki Barber was on his podcast, his radio show on WFAN, talking about Aaron Rodgers and the potential that he does come to New York, and this is what he had to say.
Ian's job is to source information about things that are going on in the NFL world. And last week, or earlier this week, I should say, Aaron Rodgers took some real shots at Ian Rappaport, basically saying he doesn't know anybody in my inner circle. I don't have his number. He doesn't have my number. Basically, shut the hell up, Ian. As I'm reading the full quotes, I mean, you heard the snippets, but as I'm reading the full quotes from his Pat McAfee weekly appearance, it just made me start to realize that if he is that sensitive, that he gets upset that people, reporters, opinion makers, influencers, whoever, want to talk about him, he is going to struggle in New York. And I don't know if it's the right fit for him. I don't know if I want him in New York, if this is going to be his reaction to things that don't matter. He's not going to handle the intensity of the New York media scape. But that's obviously traditional media, social, and everything else if he's here. I don't know if I want him here because it's going to turn into a quick pain in the ass with Aaron Rodgers as thin as that
Yikes.
shallow that he's taking shots at Ian Rappaport.
Very true. I mean, that's the case. Aaron Rodgers is very, very thin-skinned, and he doesn't have that big of an inner circle. And the context between what Tiki Barber is talking about was the fact that Aaron Rodgers went on Pat McAfee's show on Tuesday to basically say that all this reporting that Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter do about Aaron Rodgers' inner circle and the decisions he makes within his inner circle are completely false. That no one that Aaron Rodgers knows basically is in contact with Ian Rappaport or Adam Schefter. So he basically says that, they don't know nothing, so basically just leave it all behind. So Aaron Rodgers, I agree with this. So Aaron Rodgers has been known to be thin-skinned. I mean, he doesn't even have a great relationship with his family. That doesn't really even get talked about that much. And New York is brutal. Just like, California media and any big market, the media is absolutely brutal. And the biggest thing about that is, I think New Yorkers, we see the praise for loyal players like a Derek Jeter. We even like Carmelo Anthony for a long period of time. He was loyal to the Knicks for a very, very long time. The loyalty matters in New York. At least, I don't know outside of New York media, but at least in New York, loyalty is a big thing when it comes to these sports teams. And Aaron Rodgers doesn't have that. He's not committed. He's not going to be there for the team. He's going to show up. He doesn't even do off seasons. Aaron Rodgers is not, on the field when he plays, he's phenomenal. But we're talking about a guy who, during the offseason, doesn't commit himself to really the grind of the offseason. Right now, he's in darkness. It's basically like he's in solitary confinement. He's locked in like a bathroom stall, with food being fed to him through a slot. Think about that. It's weird, it's strange, but that's Aaron Rodgers. He's definitely not on the same playing field, and normal is definitely not a way to describe Aaron Rodgers. And do I think Aaron Rodgers could be successful with the Jets? Of course I do. Of course I do, because he's that great of a player that he would succeed, because the Jets, all they need is a quarterback. They had a top five defense this year. They would have had a great running game if Breece Hall didn't get hurt. Honestly, that could have been the difference between what the Jets were, or what the Jets are, and what they could have been if they kept Breece Hall, if Breece Hall didn't get hurt. So Aaron Rodgers coming to that situation, I could see that being very, very successful. But Here's the thing with Aaron Rodgers. He doesn't work well with the younger receivers. He doesn't create a rapport with them until during the season because he doesn't use the offseason to do that. He takes off OTAs. He comes to training camp when he has to. He doesn't dedicate himself to that grind during the offseason. So will the Jets be successful strictly on Aaron Rodgers' talent? Sure. But will there be will we sort of see what happened this year with the Packers? Probably. Because like we saw, Christian Watson had that horrible drop on a wide open deep ball. And then Aaron Rodgers didn't really target him throughout the early part of the season. Same thing with Romeo Doubs. They had to create jet sweeps to get Christian Watson involved early on in the year. So do I think this could work? Maybe, but I think it would take at least, maybe half the season for Aaron Rodgers to really create rapport with his receivers because he doesn't dedicate himself in the offseason. But you know what? That's okay. The media, I think by the way, Tiki Barber was a running back for the Giants. I don't think he should really care about is he going to come to New York? I mean, he's running back for the Giants. This is going to be a Jets thing, unless the Giants are going to blow up their entire system with Daniel Jones at the helm, which, it might not be a horrible idea, but Daniel Jones maybe played himself into a job thanks to Brian Daboll. But when it comes to the Jets, I think there are better options that would fit New York better. I mean, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to stay in Green Bay because he has Green Bay essentially held to his whim. I mean, Aaron Rodgers has begged for people to come back, like a Randall Cobb. They got Randall Cobb back. They just re-signed Aaron Jones today. So I think it may be a 1-year deal, but he's back. He was supposed to be not a Green Bay Packer this offseason, but they signed him to a contract. So he will be on the Packers this season. And besides, Christian Watson looked like a very, very good receiver. I still think the way we saw Christian Watson, he's better than Michael Pittman with Matt Ryan as quarterback. And I think he was better than DJ Moore with Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield and PJ Walker as quarterback. The way I looked at Christian Watson, I think he's 6'5", 6'6", runs a 4.3, and he's big too. He's quick, he's big, and he's tall. That's a beautiful receiver comp. And then you take a look at it, what they were able to do. I think he scored, 8 or 9 touchdowns in 4 games? That's ridiculous. So when I'm taking a look at this here, Aaron Rodgers is in a pretty good situation. They have a growing defense. Their offensive line they won't have the same with the Jets. I think the Packers' offensive line is better than the Jets' offensive line because the Jets still need a few pieces here and there. I think the Packers' running game is better than the Jets because I think Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon are the best 1-2 combo maybe in the NFL at the running back position. Maybe I think Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt may pass them or are already ahead of them. But I think right there, A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones, 1-2 punch right there. Thunder and lightning. And the Jets don't really have that. They have Breece Hall coming back from an injury. They also have, I believe they have a guy named Ty Johnson. They have Michael Carter. They had James Robinson. They have Breece Hall. You don't know who's exactly going to emerge as the 1-2 combo or just, the main running back. On the Packers, you have 2 very viable running backs. You have Christian Watson. Randall Cobb may be there. Who knows? You need to get another tight end. Because Robert Tonyan he was pretty good 2 years ago, but last season he wasn't all that good. The defense needs a little bit of work, maybe beef up the defensive line. Your cornerbacks, you still got Jair Alexander. Jair Alexander for a large part of the season was ranked the number 1 cornerback in the league. So I think, Aaron Rodgers, the perfect situation would be with the Packers. But we're talking about with the New York media. New York is brutal when it comes to the head figures of each sports team. He's gonna get grilled if he doesn't have success. That's just the way it is. Look at what they did to Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson got nailed by the media. He got benched twice. That's brutal because he didn't play well. And now people are giving up on him. I think that's a smart idea to give up on him, but I don't think they will because I think they may wait 1 more year. And Robert Saleh saying, "Oh, this is not the last you've seen of Zach Wilson." It should be because Zach Wilson ain't a great quarterback. He has a great arm, but he's not accurate with it. That's just what it is. He's kind of flailing with it. I still remember he tried to throw it away and threw it right into Devin McCourty's arms. Not a great not a great quarterback from Zach Wilson. So if Aaron Rodgers does go to the Jets, because that was the whole point of Nathaniel Hackett being signed by the Jets, I guarantee you he pitched the same idea to the Jets that he did with the Broncos. Hey, I could bring in Aaron Rodgers for this team. You got to sign me for that. I believe I was his OC back when I was on the Packers. I bet I can get Aaron Rodgers here. And the Broncos like, sure, yeah, you're our head coach. And when that fell through, Aaron Rodgers decided to stay with the Packers on a 3-year, $150 million deal. You know, they spent so much for Russell Wilson, and Russell Wilson was a dud this year. It could be Nathaniel Hackett. I think it's a trend. We'll see this year. But then after Nathaniel Hackett didn't even finish out the season, got fired this offseason, right before the offseason actually started, the Jets are like, hey, we just got rid of our ROC. Hey, Nathaniel Hackett, you know, what do you got for us? Hey, I bet I could bring Aaron Rodgers into New York to solve your quarterback issue. Sure, call our offensive plays. We need you. Why not? So I guarantee you, this is the same exact push that he did with the Broncos. So first, Aaron Rodgers needs to actually he needs to be signed by New York. They need to create some sort of a trade, and I think you got to give up a decent amount of pieces for Aaron Rodgers. It could be a couple picks. It could be a couple picks and a player. I think you may need to give up a player, and I think, add Zach Wilson to that. Why not? Even though I think Jordan Love, apparently rumors out there, the reports are out there that the Packers are ready to move on with Jordan Love as their quarterback. So I'm going to be very interested to see. This was Go Long's Bob McGinn believes Packers are, quote, done with Aaron Rodgers, and Jordan Love will be their team starter in 2023. This was from a couple hours ago. So apparently the report is the Packers are done. So will Aaron Rodgers come back? I mean, it's really up to him whether he asks for a trade or not. That's the big thing, because Aaron Rodgers is still contractually bound with the Packers. So if Aaron Rodgers comes out of his darkness retreat, comes out of the cave he's in, and says, you know what? I want to stay with Green Bay. I think, first of all, that'd be the smartest choice out there, because while there is other talent out there, and the Raiders could be an option, the Bucks technically could be an option, all these teams that need quarterbacks, the Titans could be an option, the 49ers even could be an option, even though he said he doesn't want to go to San Fran. All these teams have quarterback issues. The Packers obey Aaron Rodgers. That's the thing. Aaron Rodgers is basically he's basically manipulating them, saying, hey, I want this guy or else I'm going to be gone. And at the end of the year, he's like, I don't know if I'm going to stay. I really don't know. But then, you know what? It all comes back. Sure, why not? I'll come back. Give me $50 million a year. And look where we're at now. They don't have enough money to spend on actual talent. I guess Aaron Rodgers didn't trust them drafting actual talent, which, you know what, that's been a decent argument, even though, when Aaron Rodgers was in the playoffs, not this season, the past 2 seasons, he had a top 10 defense. So I don't want to hear about, the defense has no players. Top 10 defense. I don't know what to say about that. Better than 22 other teams in the league. I believe they were 9th, actually, both, so 23 other teams. So you can't tell me, no defense, no talent. I mean, he asked for receivers. He had Devontae Adams. The first chance Devontae Adams got to say bye to Green Bay, he did. Now he ended up with Derek Carr, and Derek Carr had like his worst season since his rookie year. And now he's on the market. Got released, I believe, the day after we did the show. So when I'm taking a look at this Aaron Rodgers situation, would New York destroy him if he doesn't have instant success? I don't know if they'll destroy him, but they'll say, hey, Aaron Rodgers, are you washed? You're like 39 years old? Are you already done? I mean, we have talent. We needed a quarterback. We had a top 10 defense, top 5 defense last year. And we have talent around us. We got good running backs. We got pretty good young receivers. We have a good tight end or two. Are you the problem? The offensive line needs to work. I say get another left tackle. Mekhi Becton seems like he's going to get hurt every year. I hope that's not the case, because he seems like a very, very good left tackle. But this is the situation we're in. Will Aaron Rodgers actually be successful with the Jets? I mean, we'll have to see. He has to at least get to New York first. We got to see what happens there. But with the way it's looking, Aaron Rodgers to New York seems like a viable option, even though Devontae Adams is pitching the idea for Aaron Rodgers to go there. And I think there's a decent chance that Aaron Rodgers decides to go to Las Vegas, because if we take a look at a picture, I believe I have it up here, Aaron Rodgers looks better, I think, in a Packers, or in a, like, that's Aaron Rodgers in a Jets jersey. You're telling me that looks good? Well, it's the same colors, white and green. Yeah, but it just doesn't look right. Compared to, I don't know if I have Aaron Rodgers in a Raiders jersey, but if you look at him in a Raiders jersey, I think he looks much, much better than that. I don't think I do not have Aaron Rodgers in a Raiders jersey, but that does not look great. Even though it's sort of the same colors, the scheme on it just doesn't look good. The green and the white and the black does not look good. You can see this on youtube.com /@Harvey. If you're listening to this wherever you get your podcast, Anchor.fm, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. So Aaron Rodgers does not look good in the Jets. What is it? Kelly green they wear. I don't like it personally. Maybe it's just the white and green combo. Maybe the black and green combo would look better. But as is, the way the picture I have here doesn't look all that good. But you know what? That's Aaron Rodgers. That's the way Aaron Rodgers would look in a Jets jersey. It doesn't, to me, it doesn't work. I think his persona is more Las Vegas Raiders than it is New York Jets. That's just the way it is. Aaron Rodgers steps in there as probably the best quarterback the Jets have ever had, maybe since, I don't know, Joe Namath, and Joe Namath wasn't even that great. He won one Super Bowl, didn't really play all that well, but then again, different era, hard to compare eras to make it sort of on the same playing field. But I think, you know what, Tiki Barber is not all that correct, because I think Aaron Rodgers would be on a different mindset. I think Aaron Rodgers, the way he is, you know, his brain works on another playing field than the rest of us. He's not the normal type of quarterback that you see in the NFL. I don't think it would bother him that much. I just don't, because he just, personally, yes, while this shows he may care about what Ian Rappaport say or Adam Schefter says, I just don't think Aaron Rodgers listens to the media or he makes a joke about it on Pat McAfee's show. I don't think it truly bothers him, nor do I think New York Jets really have anything to complain about if they go out and get Aaron Rodgers. He'd be the best quarterback since who? Mark Sanchez? And he's worlds above Mark Sanchez. So I think, yeah, the Jets media may be brutal if he doesn't win games, but who knows? Aaron Rodgers has to go in here during the offseason, which he won't do because he doesn't do offseasons, try to learn a whole new system. Will that work? You know, we have to see. First, he has to at least say he doesn't want to be on the Packers anymore. But let's get into our next topic here. Because since the Super Bowl, the media has exploded on, you know, Mahomes. Look at Mahomes. 3 Super Bowls in 5 years. 2 wins in 5 years. He's better than Tom Brady. What he's doing is better than Tom Brady. And I'm sitting here like, did we all forget, you know, what exactly is happening in the NFL? What has happened in history? By the way, Mahomes, 3 Super Bowl appearances, 2 wins, 2 MVPs. Brady, in his first 5 years. Brady, 3 Super Bowl appearances, 3 wins, 2 MVPs. He went 3 for 3. Mahomes went 2 for 3. And one of those losses was to Tom Brady. Brady at 45, Mahomes at 25, 26 years old. So I decided to do a little bit of research. And I have, you know, I have the Super Bowl stats here, and I'm going to bring them up on screen for you. Let's see if I can get that up for everyone here. Here we go. Brady's first 3 Super Bowls. Completion percentage of 59%, 16 to 27. 145 yards, 1 touchdown, 86.2 passer rating. The Rams had the 3rd ranked defense that year, and Brady was sacked the 6th most. So he was up against a great defense, and he had a horrible offensive line. That's just the way it is. In 2003, by the way, he won MVP of that first Super Bowl with a game-winning drive where John Madden saying, hey, let's shut it down. Let's shut it down and go play for overtime here. He does that. By the way, I'm also going to give credit to Belichick shutting down, or not shutting down, but basically, you know, slowing down the greatest show on turf. You know, I would say Belichick said, here, I'm going to slow them down. You take care of it, and that's what Brady did. So I would give it like 60-40 Belichick-Brady in that one. 2003. 32 of 48, which is 67%, 66.6. 354 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks, 100.5 passer rating. The Panthers that year had the 8th ranked defense, and Brady was sacked the 10th most. So again, going up against a really good defense, a top 10 defense, and Brady was sacked more than 22 other quarterbacks. So his offensive line wasn't good that year. And once again, these Super Bowls, he's throwing it to the best receiver, which may be Troy Brown. Which I think maybe has, I don't think, I'll bring it up right now, but I don't think Troy Brown, I think like throughout these playoffs, I don't think they had barely any Pro Bowlers, and I think they had 0 All-Pros. So Troy Brown, in those 2 Super Bowls, which he played with the Patriots with, he had 1 Pro Bowl, and that was the first Super Bowl. So he had 1 Pro Bowl in that first Super Bowl run. In 2002, I don't think they had any Pro Bowlers that Brady was throwing to. For sure, no tight ends he was throwing it to. So that was Super Bowl, was it 37 there? 38, sorry. The next one, Super Bowl 39 against the Eagles. Deion Branch won MVP in this one, and Brady won against the Panthers in that one. Brady threw 23 of 33, which is 69.6, which I rounded up to 70%. 236 yards, 2 touchdowns, 110.2 passer rating. The Eagles that year had the 10th best defense, and Brady, this year, he had a better offensive line. He was sacked the 20th most. And Brady still... I mean, in the first Super Bowl, Brady was, I believe, a 2-year player. He came after a 5-11 season with Drew Bledsoe. Came in that next year. They went like 0-2, and then Brady cleaned up the rest of the way. And look what Brady did. And of course, they didn't throw it that much because they were trying to play the clock. And they ran the ball okay. I think they had 75 yards with Antoine Smith. Who the hell is Antoine Smith? Good question. Not many people know unless you're in Foxborough. So 2003, they let him throw the ball a lot. He threw it 48 times, completed 67% of his passes. And in 2004, against the Eagles, he threw it 33 times. So he's not not throwing the football. Threw the football in 2 of the Super Bowls. The first one didn't throw it that many times. He threw it 27 times. Let's get into Pat Mahomes, the next Tom Brady. Here's his first 3 Super Bowls. 2019 against the 49ers, who had the second best defense. Mahomes went 26 of 42, 62%, or 61.9, I rounded. 286 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, 78.1 passer rating. His offensive line was phenomenal. He got sacked the 31st most times. Offensive line was great that year. In 2020 against the Buccaneers, they had an injured offensive line. So I'm not going to mention the offensive line because it was a bunch of new players. But he had crazy. I think he was pressured on almost 40% of his dropbacks. 26 of 48 or 26 of 49, which is 53%, 53.1 around it. 270 passing yards, no touchdowns, 2 picks, a 52.3 passer rating. And I think even Mahomes said that if he just stayed in the pocket, he could actually made some actual throws and made some completions there. So Mahomes even mentioned that. And this past Super Bowl, this past Sunday, 21 of 27, which is 77%, 77.8, 78%. 182 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, 131.8 passer rating. By the way, the Bucs had the 6th ranked defense. And then in this past Super Bowl, the Eagles had the 2nd ranked defense, and Mahomes was sacked for the 21st most times. So Mahomes had a great offensive line. And all of these Super Bowls, or all of these years, the Super Bowl against the Bucs, he didn't have a great offensive line. Brady had a horrible offensive line until his very last Super Bowl. And then he went on that long stretch. He lost twice to Eli Manning and everything like that, but we won't get into that. People are calling the Chiefs a dynasty. I think that word gets thrown around too much now. Did we think when the Giants won twice in 5 years that they were a dynasty? They won in 2007 and 2011. Do we think of them as a dynasty after beating Brady twice? They defeated him. They defeated the undefeated Patriots, the 18-0 Patriots once, and they defeated probably one of, if not the best Patriots offenses in 2011. Beat them twice. The Giants were never called a dynasty. A dynasty generally means 3 times. Even in the first 2 Super Bowls, 2001 and 2003, Super Bowl 36 and 38, the Patriots were not called a dynasty until they beat out the Eagles in Super Bowl 39, and then they were called a dynasty. And also, Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk says that the Chiefs could have made it to each of the last 6 Super Bowls with Mahomes. I remember against the Bengals in the AFC Championship game, Mahomes throwing a very ugly interception in overtime and playing he gave up a double-digit halftime lead, I believe, in the AFC Championship game against the Bengals. So we couldn't make it to that one because Mahomes didn't play that well. And then Mahomes had that great, and then was it the game before, the amazing divisional game, Chiefs Bills. Gabriel Davis had 4 touchdowns, and they took 13 seconds to score a touchdown. I think we're using the word dynasty too much. Mahomes needs to win one more for it to be called a dynasty. It's not 2 Super Bowl wins. It isn't. And I've seen a lot of people say, well, Mahomes and the Chiefs are doing stuff that we haven't seen ever. Brady did it. Mahomes joins the company of one other player after this win for the most Super Bowls from an active player, and that's Jimmy G with 2. Now, he was a backup in both those Super Bowls, but he joins that company. It's Jimmy G and Patrick Mahomes is the only 2 quarterbacks that have multiple Super Bowls that are active right now. Is Mahomes phenomenal? Yes, he is. Is he the best quarterback in the league right now? Yes, he is. But he's only won 2 Super Bowls. So calling him the greatest quarterback of all time, you can't do it. You can't do it because guess what? Brady won 3 Super Bowls with having 2 great performances. People still said, And by the way, those 3 Super Bowls, he had 3 game-winning drives. They said, you can't beat Joe. Joe's 4-0. You got to pass Joe Montana. And Mahomes, we're not even talking about Joe Montana. We're jumping the gun to Tom Brady. Oh, he's better than Tom Brady because he won 2 Super Bowls in 5 years. Yeah, but here's the thing. Brady beat him twice, one in the Super Bowl, one in the 2018 AFC Championship game. So Brady has stopped him from getting 2 more rings potentially. 1 ring definitely because they played in the Super Bowl, and then the AFC Championship game where I would give it a pretty good shot they would have beaten the Rams in 2018. We're jumping the gun here. Joe Montana was called the greatest quarterback of all time. Even Lawrence Taylor today is saying that, Joe Montana is still the greatest quarterback of all time. He has to pass Joe Montana. He also has to pass Teddy Bridgewater, who also has 4. And then guess what? To be called the greatest of all time, you got to do what Brady did. You got to pass Charles Haley for what was the most Super Bowl rings of any player, which was, I believe, was 5. Brady's got 7 in 10 tries. You're now 2 of 3. Congratulations. In the Super Bowl, Mahomes has not played very well. He just hasn't. This was maybe his best Super Bowl game, and that's only because he didn't turn the ball over. If he turned it over once or twice, let's just say once, Mahomes probably would not have won that game. We're taking a look at it here. In the Super Bowl, Brady in total, 71 of 108, 66%, compared to 73 of 118, 62%. So we're taking a look here. Mahomes has thrown it 10 more times. 10 more times. Has only completed 2 more passes. So you can't say Mahomes is throwing it so much more than Brady. Not really. How many yards? 738 to 735. 1 yard a game difference. Passer rating, Brady has it what? 11.6 points higher. Brady has a 99 passer rating in all these Super Bowls combined. Mahomes has an 87.4. So, Brady's been a better Super Bowl quarterback. And here's the thing. I don't think Brady has a single Hall of Fame receiver or tight end that he was throwing it to in these Super Bowls. Mahomes has had 2. Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce, now people are saying, is the greatest tight end of all time. And Tyreek Hill is the fastest human alive with pads on. Brady didn't have that. Brady didn't have that. And we get to say, great defenses. Yeah, the Patriots defense in 2003 that gave up 29 points to a guy I don't even remember. Was it Jake Delhomme? Was he on the team by then? I believe that was who it is. Jake Delhomme. Who is he? Many people don't even know. So I think we got to cut it down with this dynasty stuff. Mahomes has to pass the guy that Brady has to pass first. He has to pass Joe Montana before we can talk about Tom Brady. And we're talking about rings. Then we got to talk about Charles Haley first. And then we get to Brady. Because Brady is at 7. When you talk about who has won the most Super Bowls, you start with Tom Brady and then you go to the Patriots and Steelers. That's what you have to do. And I forget if the 49ers have 5 or 6, but regardless, Brady is at the pinnacle of when you talk about, who has the most Super Bowls. You start with Tom Brady and then you move on to organizations. Mahomes has 2. The same as Eli Manning. We don't call Eli Manning the GOAT. He beat the GOAT. All due respect to him. The first, I've always said this. 2011, Eli Manning clearly outplayed. He still holds the record for most passing yards in the playoffs. Mahomes doesn't even have that. And then 2007, I'm gonna say this until I die. That defense was the reason the Giants won. I'm not gonna go there. So I think we do need to cut it out with this. Mahomes. We're saying Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk. Chiefs could have made it to the last 6 Super Bowls. Did they have the talent to do it? Yeah, because Mahomes is there. That's what people are saying. Mahomes is the reason they can get to all 6 Super Bowls. Well, you can because Joe Burrow beat you, and you played pretty poorly in that. You lost to Tom Brady in the AFC Championship game because Brady converted 3 straight 3rd and 10s, 3rd and longs in that overtime. It's called impossibly great. This doesn't take anything away from Mahomes. I literally said earlier in this take, Mahomes is a phenomenal talent. He's the number 1 quarterback this year and many years. But we have to cut it down on comparing him. See, we're talking about the greatest of all time here. Mahomes is very, very talented. Very, very, very talented. He has a top 3 arm in the league. He's very athletic, not as athletic as Jalen Hurts or Justin Fields, even a Josh Allen, or even I guess Josh Allen's a good comp, but Lamar Jackson, any of these mobile quarterbacks, he doesn't have that mobility, but he has a mobility like these huge arm throwers that also have legs like a Josh Allen. Patrick Mahomes is super talented. But if we're talking about who's the greatest quarterback of all time, or even the greatest player of all time, Mahomes has a lot of work to do. Could he get there? Brady and Gronk even admitted Mahomes is the closest thing to catch up to Tom Brady. We just have to see now. When you're talking about playing these Super Bowls, Brady didn't have a single Hall of Famer he was throwing it to. Patrick Mahomes had 2. This past season, he had 1. Not a single Hall of Famer. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the Chiefs had, they were tied for most Pro Bowlers, most players that made the Pro Bowl this season. Brady didn't get that in his first 3. Nowhere near that. So, I'm not taking anything away from him. I'm just saying, let's calm it down a little bit. Let's calm it down a little bit. All right, we're going to take a break, but still to come. Is Derek Carr the solution to the Jets quarterback problem? And I have a brand new topic that I'm very, very excited to do right after this.
Introducing video podcasts on Spotify.
Transform your storytelling into a show everyone can watch
Or listen to.
Easily upload your video through Anchor, Spotify's free podcast creation tool.
So whether you're showing off a new recipe,
Interviewing an exclusive guest,
or uncovering the next mystery,
you can now reach a whole new audience with Spotify.
podcasting just became more than audio.
Create with Anchor, watch on Spotify.
You have a lot to say. Maybe you've thought, I should start a podcast. Meet Anchor, the easiest way to make a podcast ever. It's a powerful mobile app and web tool that lets you record a podcast anywhere and distribute it everywhere. It's great whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out. And it's 100% free. You can record your show straight into Anchor on your phone, iPad, or the web, using any mic you want. Record alone or with friends or co-hosts anywhere in the world. You can add background music and transitions, and your listeners can send you voice messages that you can incorporate right into your next episode. If you want to produce your show using another app, you can upload your own audio directly from web or mobile, and still take advantage of Anchor's totally free podcast hosting. Once your podcast is ready to publish, Anchor can automatically distribute it to every major podcast platform. That includes Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify, so your listeners can hear your show wherever they want. And on the web, you can see detailed analytics about how people are listening. Plus, you'll get a great-looking profile page where anyone can listen to your podcast or subscribe to it. And if you want to ask your audience to support your work, Anchor makes it easy to collect monthly payments from the people who love your podcast and want to see it grow. You really don't need a recording studio, expensive equipment, or a bunch of technical knowledge to deal with a podcast feed. Just get started and join the diverse community of podcasters already on Anchor. We can't wait to hear your podcast.
Welcome back to the Harvey Hour. My name's Nathan Harvey. My dad is not here today. He is away enjoying life right now, but he will be back hopefully for Monday's episode of the Harvey Hour. But let's get into our next topic because Derek Carr, there was some, I guess you could call it breaking news. Let's call it breaking news. The Jets have planned to visit with Derek Carr this weekend, and I found it very, very interesting because I've seen I've seen sort of, a blend between hate and love of Derek Carr on social media. People seem to forget what Derek Carr has done over the past 9 years, or I guess 8 years, and only cares about what happened this season. We do realize that Derek Carr has the most comeback wins since entering the league. We do realize he's a pretty good fourth quarter, one of the best fourth quarter quarterbacks in the league. That's just a fact. He won a bunch of one-score games last year. This year he didn't get it done because maybe Josh McDaniels doesn't know how to scheme like a whole team late game. Who knows? The defense was underwhelming. He's had, on average, he's had the 32nd ranked defense throughout his entire tenure with the Raiders. But set the plan a visit to the New York Jets this weekend, and I thought, that makes sense. Because I've been saying it on the show. Derek Carr could be the perfect fit for the Jets. And it's something that I alluded to earlier in the show when talking about Aaron Rodgers. Derek Carr is a very, very loyal quarterback. He didn't turn on the team. The team turned on him. And you hear in his press conferences and the interviews about what happened, he gets emotional talking about it. When talking about the Raiders in his time there, he gets emotional talking about it. I mean, that's just the truth. He's a very, very loyal quarterback. That's just who Derek Carr is. I think he would fit really, really, really well with the Jets because he would be dedicated in the offseason and throughout the season to make a connection with the New York Jets and his teammates and the media because that's who Derek Carr is. I'm hearing talks about Carolina. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, there was a report out saying that, yeah, he had an interview set up right after the Saints, but he said, nah, I'm good. I'm not going to go. I don't think Carolina would be a good fit. Bad offensive line. Receivers could be better. Running backs are average and for some reason peaked like midway through the year, mid to late in the year. The Panthers' offense is not a very, very good offense. They looked really, really good, but I think that could just be a facade. They have a new head coach now, Frank Wright. Look how he looked against with the Colts this past season. He got fired. They hired Jeff Saturday to replace him. Derek Carr's dedicated. He's motivated to, right the wrong, I guess, that the Raiders did to him. The Raiders did him dirty. I think it's unfair. So would Derek Carr fit with New York? Yeah, I think he would. Because like I said, Derek Carr's loyal compared to, an Aaron Rodgers who takes the off seasons off and just doesn't really care about, making a connection with the people around him. You hear stories about quarterbacks like Tom Brady walk up to like the rookie and say, hey, my name's Tom Brady. What's yours? Introducing himself around to the new players. And people already know who Tom Brady is because everybody knows who Tom Brady is, the greatest quarterback of all time. Derek Carr gives me that sort of vibe, that nice guy who's dedicated, who's motivated to succeed. And he's not a bad quarterback at all. And I've been saying this. The Jets just need a distributor. They don't need a uber playmaker like an Aaron Rodgers who they're going to be paying, exorbitant amounts of money because his contract is ridiculous. Derek Carr would be a perfect fit there, I think. Derek Carr or even Jimmy G. People hate Jimmy G because he gets hurt a lot, doesn't play well, all that. Jimmy G or Derek Carr is a perfect fit. They're cheap. They can be cheap. I think Jimmy G would be cheaper than Derek Carr, but definitely cheaper than Aaron Rodgers. They play well. They're dedicated. And overall, they're just nice guys. Jimmy G is a very, very nice guy. Very, very likable guy. Same thing with Derek Carr. Very, very likable. So would Derek Carr fit? 100% I think he would fit because he could just be that distributor and let the Jets playmakers do what they do best. Make plays. Elijah Moore. Garrett Wilson. Breece Hall. I believe you still got Conklin there as well, the tight end. The offensive line needs a left tackle and maybe another guard. But your offensive line's been really great. Derek Carr would have Derek Carr for the first time in his career would have a top 10, and the Jets last year were a top 5 defense. So that'll be the first time in his career he actually has a defense. And God forbid the Jets, are down in the fourth quarter and they need Derek Carr to come back and save them. He's more than capable of doing it. Because that's what Derek Carr is. Derek Carr has been a great fourth quarter come from behind quarterback. That's how they made the playoffs 2 years ago. Because of him. I mean, we saw it against the Ravens in week 1 2 years ago. He beat out Lamar Jackson. And throughout that entire year, it was great. This year was weird. You bring in Josh McDaniels, who had a bad reputation as a head coach already. He's not very successful. He comes in, Devontae Adams. They get Devontae Adams. He's excited to play with Derek Carr. It was a whole thing. Aaron Rodgers' personality fits more with the Raiders. And Derek Carr, I think, would fit anywhere else besides the Raiders because those two personalities don't really sync up. So I think, and by the way, this is the first quarterback that they're knocking out. They haven't talked to Jimmy G yet. They haven't planned I believe there was a report that they asked about Aaron Rodgers, I think a day or two ago. But they're gonna meet with Derek Carr. I guess they can't really meet with Aaron Rodgers because he's right now locked in a bathroom. But I think Derek Carr would be a perfect fit. He's cheaper than Aaron Rodgers, a little bit more expensive than Jimmy G, I think. He's a distributor. That's all he needs to be. The defense is great. Sauce Gardner is the highest graded cornerback since 2013 according to Pro Football Focus. And he's been tremendous. They may have found another Darrelle Revis. Might have found Sauce Island right there. You got DJ Reed. You picked up Jordan Whitehead. I don't think you extended him, but you may have. CJ Mosley's there. You got Jermaine Johnson. You got a very, very good defensive line. Your defense is good. I believe it was number 4 this past year. Your offensive line needs a little bit of work, injuries and such. Your running backs, Breece Hall's coming back. He's going to be healthy this year. You bring in Derek Carr. You got two very, very viable receivers that are very, very capable of doing what they do, and that's making plays. I mean, there's not much competition for your job. We got Zach Wilson, who got benched twice in 1 year. Yeah, I don't think that's really much competition at all. But, Mike White's on the market. Would I trade away Zach Wilson, bring in Mike White, who's a better quarterback than Zach Wilson, as your backup in case, Derek Carr gets hurt? Maybe. And I could be wrong with this, but I think the only 2 games Derek Carr missed in his 9-year tenure with the Raiders were the 2 he got benched in. Talk about, Iron Man loyalty and dedication. That is Derek Carr. People hate Derek Carr just at what happened this past season. We don't know if it's Derek Carr. It could be the offense. It could be Josh McDaniels. Because Josh McDaniels does not have a very good reputation as a head coach. Definitely not a winning reputation. So we'll see. We will see. I think that Derek Carr would work better than a Jimmy G, maybe. Would he? He's not as talented as Aaron Rodgers. No, of course not. But could he do the same things that the Jets need, and that's just win games and get it to the playmakers? Sure. And he probably costs about $10, $15 million less than Aaron Rodgers does. Let's get to my new topic, because, I've said this occasionally about, Anchor.fm, and you can send in messages, by the way, Anchor.fm/The Harvey Hour /message. I believe you need to make an account, email password, and then you can send a message into the show. And I have always said, I will read your messages on the show, or listen to your messages on the show and answer them. So let's begin. We finally got a message, and that's from Allison from Arlington, Massachusetts. Let's listen to the message.
Hey, Nate. I love your show. I love the Harvey Hour. And I have a question following up to your February 6th show about the best jerseys in the NFL. And I'm wondering if on Thursday night, is there a requirement that they have to wear a special uniform? Because I've noticed that often it's a solid shirt with solid pants, no stripes, nothing fancy. And they're kind of ugly, but I'm wondering if the NFL has some special rule about Thursday night football uniforms. Keep up the great work. Thanks.
All right, great question. And this is interesting because I found it, fascinating for a lot of reasons. Because the NFL, very early in my life, I didn't really get to see this, unfortunately. But they had the retro jerseys that they brought back in the 2010s, and then they took them away for some obscure reason that I didn't quite understand yet. And then, what was it? Entering high school or leaving high school, they had the Color Rush jerseys. So I decided to do a little bit of research, and here's what I came across. In 2012, Nike replaced Reebok as the primary uniform supplier of the NFL. Basically, the Seahawks, Vikings, Browns, Jaguars, Dolphins, Bucks, Lions, Titans, and Jets all had a redesign to their jerseys. In 2013, the NFL essentially banned all alternate helmets out of fear of an increase in concussions. They thought that it would be better to use an old, broken-in helmet than a brand new one just for special occasions that isn't molded to your head, I guess. So they banned it in 2013. In 2015, the Packers had a shareholder meeting, and they actually brought up a color versus colorful game on Thursday Night Football, and 8 teams actually participated in 2013 with that color versus color rush, essentially. And in 2016, that color rush became mandatory for all 32 teams to make a color rush jersey. The Steelers had a situation where they didn't want to, but they eventually did make a color rush jersey. And in 2016, this is where color rush came to be. All 32 teams had a color rush jersey. In 2018, the push for a color rush jersey actually ended. So they weren't specifically highlighting, oh, today is going to be a color rush day. This team is going to be in their color rush uniforms. It was more so taken as an alternate jersey. So not specifically color rush, but more so of an alternate jersey because there were new terms in the brand new Thursday night football contract. So once again, the color rush just became another alternate jersey, not a specifically highlighted color rush jersey. And then finally, this past season, 2022, the NFL decided to retake that idea of the helmets and the concussions and everything and allow teams to actually use their alternate helmets. So that's why we had teams like the Patriots with that beautiful red jersey that they wore. That is like now part of their 3 jersey, rotation. I think they wore it like 2 or 3 times this season. But, they brought that back. Then we're going to see the creamsicle jerseys from the Bucs next year. I mean, it would have been great to see Tom Brady in a creamsicle jersey, but they're going to wear those next year. I'm trying to remember all the other vintage ones we saw. I don't think we saw many vintage jerseys. But we saw the Arizona Cardinals get that beautiful like black helmet that had like the red shine to it. If you shine light on it, it's like a red glitter effect. The Saints had a beautiful black helmet, and basically it was because of concussions that basically you can't use alternate helmets, which then took away the alternate jersey. And then they brought in these color rush jerseys, which were just just a solid jersey. And then there was actually a problem with it. I believe it might have been 2017. It was Bills and Jets, green and red. And there were some colorblind issues when people were watching it. So there were some altercations to the jerseys and everything like that. But we saw the Saints in the all white jerseys. Those are color rush. We saw the page. Actually, what's funny enough, I don't know if many people know this. My dad, I'm not going to show you the screen now, but my dad has that the navy blue Patriots jersey with the gray stripes on the side. The color rush is the jersey that their primary jersey is now. So the Patriots jersey that they wear, the white and the blue, was the Patriots color rush jersey back in 2017 and 2016, 2017. I just thought that I realized that like a year and a half ago. That I'm like, oh yeah, I remember those jerseys. So that's basically to answer your question. The jerseys were a promotion back in 2016 and 2017, and then in 2018 the NFL said, yeah, we're not gonna basically say, oh, color rush jersey. The promotion for it ended. And then they in 2022 they brought back the allowance of vintage jerseys. So I'm hoping we see a lot of more vintage jerseys now. I hope the Patriots wear that red one way more, and I hope they actually bring back that white and red one, the primary white with the red stripes. I was not able to see that, unfortunately, because I think that's actually a very, very good jersey. And I hope the Patriots bring back the royal blue pinstripe one. I still love that jersey. It was I believe it was my number 1 on my best jersey, my favorite jersey video. So to answer your question, yeah, there it is. But to wrap up this episode of the Harvey Hour, that will be it. Monday, we got some big news. The Lakers look great. D'Angelo Russell, LeBron, and AD seem to be clicking. That's going to be an interesting watch to see if they make the play-in. Me and my dad both have said that the Lakers should at least make the play-in. Kevin Durant, he's got to come back from injury. We're going to see how well he does with his new team, the Suns. Apparently, Russell Westbrook and the Clippers could be in a deal soon. Who knows? But for this episode of the Harvey Hour, thank you all for watching. We will be live Monday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube. Clips will be uploaded throughout the weekend. NBA All-Star Game, or I guess this weekend is NBA All-Star Weekend. I don't think I'll watch. Maybe the 3-point contest, maybe the slam dunk contest, and potentially the All-Star Game. And I gotta say this about the All-Star Game. They decided, I guess we're just a bunch, like little kids, because they're gonna pick the reserves first in order to not be that last pick in the draft type of that is so. I'm sorry, but that is so stupid. We're not. These guys are grown adults. They're not little kids who care about that. But it's the NBA. Who knows? But for this episode of the Harvey Hour, my name is Nathan Harvey. Like I said, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Clips will be posted throughout the week if you missed any of it. Anchor.fm/the Harvey Hour to listen to it back, or anywhere you get your podcast. If you want to send a message into the show, just like Allison did, you can do anchor.fm/the Harvey Hour/message to send a message into the show. But for this one, my name is Nathan Harvey. I'll see you guys Monday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube.
Introducing video podcasts on Spotify.
Transform your storytelling into a show everyone can watch
Or listen to.
Easily upload your video through Anchor, Spotify's free podcast creation tool.
So whether you're showing off a new recipe,
Interviewing an exclusive guest,
or uncovering the next mystery,
you can now reach a whole new audience with Spotify.
podcasting just became more than audio.
Create with Anchor, watch on Spotify.